Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. I'm Benjamin from eTabs, and just want to, the next about 15-20 minutes or so, just talk about some ideas for how you can get more bang for your buck, how you can leverage more value from your reporting in 2021. It's obviously been a very difficult year for all of us, and I think it's important to share some ideas for how we can try and make things better going forward, despite COVID's attempts at to derail those plans. Okay, so just a little bit of background about eTabs then. We've been around for the last 27 years. Our whole specialty is the back-end reporting process for the market research industry. So we're all about data visualization, automated charting and reporting, online dashboards, the whole sort of deliverables side of market research. So we don't get involved in the data collection or the analysis side of things. We've won a number of awards over the years, which is very nice. And so I've just been told that my screen's frozen. Sorry. Hope you can all see that now. We've won a number of awards over the years, which is very nice, including going to visit Her Majesty the Queen at Buckingham Palace. We're based in the UK, headquartered in the UK, but we do have satellite support teams in the US, as well as in Auckland, New Zealand. So we're able to provide support to our clients around the clock, wherever and whenever they are and when they need us, which is obviously quite important when you're looking at using innovative, time-saving solutions. It's important to be able to have support around the clock in order to address any issues that may come up when you're up against tight deadlines. Okay, so what's COVID done to us? I wonder how familiar you are with any or all of these. Obviously, a lot of companies are witnessing cancelled projects. Their clients have been pulled out or put their projects on hold, put their market research budgets on freeze, and that obviously has a huge impact. Reduced resources, and not only are people working from home or perhaps working part-time or being furloughed or had to be laid off, and that of course means less people around to do the work as needed. Clients are asking for a break. They're saying, can you give me something for less? Margins are tighter. It's very difficult to say no when you're trying to hold on to those clients as much as possible. And if they're not demanding a discount, they're demanding better value. Do more for me, for my money. And these are really the issues that so many companies that I talked to the last few months are saying. Just they ring true. And of course, it's very difficult out there. So, what could we potentially do to work this out and get a better outcome? So, we just mentioned some of the painful impacts that you may be experiencing due to COVID and the global downturn in business. And it may therefore come as an initial shock to suggest that now would actually be a time to innovate. Innovation tends to cost money and also means introducing changes at a time when there's so much uncertainty in the world. However, to survive this turmoil, we need to be like the chameleon that is constantly adapting to survive in an ever-changing environment. Innovative reporting has long been perceived as taking heavy technical wizardry or coming at significant cost, whether that's to automate PowerPoint outputs or to display a relatively simple yet interactive set of charts in an online dashboard. So it's no surprise then that many companies don't even consider dipping their feet into the water, and especially at a time like this when companies are all struggling and may not think about proactively putting time and effort into innovation. However, innovation doesn't have to be expensive, and it could well make the difference between keeping or losing a client or project, or the difference between becoming stale in a client's eyes or making tangible changes that will mutually benefit and promote you to being seen as their partner rather than just another supplier. So let's look at online dashboards first. They can be easy. They can be an easy, efficient, and effective means of communicating research findings to your clients and stakeholders. It empowers them to interact with the data, and depending on how much access you want to give them, enables them to play around with the data, filter it, slice and dice it, and explore some what-if type scenarios. Let's face it, more and more clients are asking for online dashboards with their projects, particularly in this new world of remote working. Makes a lot of sense. Dashboards aren't for every project, but can be relevant to many more project types than you would initially consider. Even one-time ad hoc projects. If there's a certain shelf life and there's a need to be able to slice and dice the data, it makes sense. Give some access to the client. You can control that. So you don't have to be too worried about giving them too much access if they may not be professional analysts and researchers that know what they're looking for. It's possible to control what they can do in order not to come to bad conclusions. So if you still have the chance to be proactive with your client, go ahead and misquote McDonald's. Would you like a dashboard with that? You'll be surprised how many brownie points you could score just with that one question. It can also be way cheaper than you'd think. I mean, at eTabs, our approach, for example, is to let you design and show off dashboards to your heart's content, and there's nothing to pay until your client likes it and decides to go ahead. So nothing to lose, and a whole lot of kudos to gain with your clients. We often find that the industry has been using the wrong tools for the job, using solutions that, quite frankly, are not the best fit. The dashboard platforms on offer, by and large, don't fully meet the exacting needs of the market researcher. And those solutions are mainly BI, which stands for business intelligence tools. Basically, we need an MR tool, a market research tool, not a BI tool. Business intelligence tools are great at what they do. They look fantastic, of course, but they simply don't speak our language. And that's where the initial problem lies and the difficulty in deploying them for market research projects in the traditional way. So currently, if say we want to use multi-response data, show significance, stat testing, low base indicators, or calculate top two boxes and so on, you have to be an expert in coding or data manipulation to display that on a dashboard. Using an MR platform to build MR dashboards would certainly seem to make more sense without the challenge of shoehorning MR data into a solution that does not natively understand the actual language of market research. And just because MR tools are specialist tools, that doesn't mean they have to cost the earth or be complicated to deploy. Our motto is, if you can design something in PowerPoint, you should be able to design that on an online dashboard. And that's how we've designed our own platform, Iris, to be able to be as easy to use as possible. As if you've got PowerPoint skills, you should be able to use Iris and be able to just get a dashboard up for your client to play with and look at with very minimal effort. So that's touching on the dashboard side of things. And that brings us to the next opportunity for potential change. If you're still hand posting numbers into PowerPoint decks, then now's certainly the best time to invest in automated charting and reporting. No matter what quantitative project you're looking at doing at the moment, your low-hanging fruit will definitely be trackers or multi-market projects where there's a fairly consistent template which can be auto-populated. Our belief, however, is that we should always be on the lookout for automating wherever possible. Automation does not have to mean all or nothing. That's a very common misconception. So people say, "Oh, but I have a tracker that changes. There's some variance in there across time." So where some questions change over time, or multi-market project perhaps, where the brands themselves or the number of brands may change between markets. A lot of people will think, "Oh, because it's not consistent, it's not worth touching." We say just the opposite. We have the technology, leave that problem to us. We can deal with change over time. We can deal with the change between brands, between countries, markets, and so on. And it's still worth automating as much as possible. So even if, let's say, 80% of the project stays static and the other 20% is just so variable that you don't want to automate that 20%, by all means, definitely go ahead with the 80% and save yourself 80% of the time. It makes total, absolute sense. Just attune yourself to be on the lookout for opportunity. Maybe adjust your concept ad or copy test template so it can be more cookie cutter. Consider adding value to a syndicated study where for very little extra effort, each subscriber can get a deck that is tailored to their branding or pays attention to their brand over the other brands covered. So perhaps we're going to sort all the brands across all the different subscribers' PowerPoint decks and always put their brand at the top of the list. Obviously, everything being sorted but below that. But lots of tailoring we can do, even though it's a standard template that's going to go to all these different subscribers on the syndicate. You might as well give them more value out of deliverables. And like I mentioned earlier, it's those small things that can make all the difference to a relationship. So invest more today, and hopefully you'll secure the client or project for tomorrow and beyond. I'm often asked if there's any mileage to be gained with auto-charting purely ad hoc projects. Of course, the whole principle of automation is to take a process that's repeated and find a way to automate those repetitive tasks. By its very definition, a project that's ad hoc isn't something that is necessarily templated. However, being that I believe so strongly in applying automation wherever possible, I like to take a step back and analyze any deliverables. For instance, are there patterns in the slides? The same set of slides repeated across categories. It could be a 50-slide deck, but you've actually got 5 sections of 10 slides. Those 10 slides are essentially repeated 5 times. So then there's repetition there. There's a pattern. Or would it help the researcher if they could start their reporting with a pre-processed, automatically generated chart deck, overpopulated, and then cherry pick the ones that they want to tell their story? There's lots of ways that we can leverage automation in order to bring more value, more time saving. Regardless of project types, there are 2 other strategic benefits to invest in an automated charting. The first being accuracy. Even if we're not talking about completely hands-free reporting, the fact that you can be confident with data being pulled into your charts directly from the original data tables is huge, not to be underestimated. And finally, an incredible yet often overlooked benefit of automation is that projects can be set up earlier on in the cycle. That means on interim or dummy data. So even whilst the project's still out in the field, as long as you can get some interim data, you already have something to start working with to build up the automation process in the PowerPoint. So then when the final data is released, you can update an entire deck of slides literally within minutes. That's great for when you'll be up against the clock to deliver accurate reports to a client under extreme pressure. I also sometimes call this the insurance policy, protecting you against those awkward moments when you've spent an entire night keying in numbers by hand for a client presentation the next day, only to discover an email from DP saying, I used the wrong weighting. I hope that's not a big deal. Please use this file instead. You screamed your heart's content because, of course, you literally spent the whole night or days perhaps typing in numbers that were wrong. Of course, this has never happened before, and it's only hypothetical, but it's good to be prepared for life's eventualities. So the bottom line, how can these suggestions for innovation translate into profit? 1, leverage technology to reduce the cost of reporting. That's really what this is about. 2, once the headache and the onus of reporting is transferred from your fingers, you'll have both the time and the headspace to utilize your analytical skills to dig for additional and more deeper insights. 3, seize new, tangible revenue-generating opportunities. For example, if fieldwork is monthly, but reporting was only just about manageable quarterly, then consider dashboards, which don't have to be real time, but they can certainly be updated very, very regularly. Or if it's automated charting, offer your clients monthly reporting for very little extra effort. But of course, you're more than entitled to charge for that. So there's an additional revenue opportunity for you right there. And if that doesn't go down well with your client, quite frankly, I'd be shocked. 4, manual reporting not only costs you valuable time, but is of course prone to error, as we mentioned before. By reporting directly from the source data itself, you're reducing the chance for typos and inaccuracies. You and your client will have more confidence in the data being reported. 5, smaller companies in particular can begin to consider pitching on larger, more complex projects they would otherwise never have even dreamt or attempted to pitch for due to lack of resources. But now you can let the software be your huge backroom resource to get the charting and the reporting done, all the dashboards and so on. 6, with the cost of reporting reduced and new channels for revenue generation, your profit margins can be increased, and that really is quite straightforward. So in summary then, innovating has many strategic benefits. It gives you the chance to add value to what you're doing now. You can do it better and you can do more of it. It gives you ways to generate more revenue and maintain or grow profits. It strengthens client relationships. You'll be partnering with your clients and moving ahead rather than just doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. And finally, even your staff will appreciate it. Instead of exercising their fingers, they can exercise their minds. Less stress too. Their increased job satisfaction will translate into a happier team and company. And I've seen this firsthand time and time again, where a charting team thought that their jobs were on the line, or an IT team where their jobs were on the line because now they don't need to program every single dashboard. They don't need to hand post all these numbers. And they came back a few months later saying it's incredible how staff satisfaction and the team gelling has been made to be so different thanks to our solutions. Okay, so our team is always available to help you. We can give you free access to Iris, the dashboard, our cloud-based platform, and then you can begin to put your dashboards together and showcase them to your clients without any commitment. And again, that's being proactive. That's showing your clients, look, how would you like this as a deliverable, in addition to the PowerPoint or instead of the PowerPoint? And that really can, like I said, go down very well. We have automated charting solutions that will literally bring a smile to your face as you watch those entire decks being populated time after time. We have data viz and infographics tools that can transform traditional charts and numbers into powerful, much more visually attractive stories, all within PowerPoint. It's really quite sweet. And finally, if you'd rather we did the automation or dashboard setup for you rather than doing it yourselves, we have an entire team who can do just that and support your operation. So thank you for your time today. I hope you found this presentation helpful and thought-provoking. Happy to take any questions that you may have at this point. Please stay safe and well, and be in touch, please, if we can help you. Any questions? That's the first question. Is there any data manipulation involved to import raw data? It's a good question. The bottom line answer is shouldn't be. So for example, if your raw data is a SPSS SAV file, we can pull that in right away. If your raw data is in an Excel file, then we can aggregate it within the system as well. Otherwise, we can just take aggregated data directly from your existing analysis systems, or if it's banner tables, we can take those as well. How do you deal with stat testing? That's a good question. A lot of people ask us that. So we can work with stat testing in two ways. If you already have the stat testing in your data, in your tabulations, for example, then we can read that in and show it in the dashboard, or we can show it in the PowerPoint decks as column letters or arrows, any other indicator that you may want. If you don't have the stat testing now, you want us to do the stat testing, that's also possible, both in our dashboard platforms. Literally click of a button, apply the stat test that you want, and you'll see that appear in the dashboard. And with the PowerPoint automation, there's built in about 30 or 40 different standard stat tests formulae in there. You can always add your own formula if it's something customized. So yes, stat testing is definitely something we can handle. Another question just came in. Can you work with SAV files? Yes, I just mentioned that before. So yes, you can pull in an SPSS SAV file directly. You can pull in files from Wincross. You can pull in files from Quantum, Mentor, Uncle, Qualtrics. Just about any standard market research platform, and of course Excel files. Another question: what are the typical time savings? So I'm assuming that question is talking about the automation side of it. Things time savings would be at least 80%, if not more. So as an example, let's say you've got a 30-40 slide template that you want automated. So you might spend a day or two getting that set up, but then each month or each quarter, each new wave that you're going to run it, you're literally going to see those 30-40 slides populated in a couple of minutes. So you're going to invest now similar time to what it would have taken perhaps to have done those slides manually, but then going forward, the savings are just astronomical. Is there any flexibility in automation? Yes. So, for example, I assume that what that flexibility means is a variance, handling variance. So, as I mentioned, yes, we can definitely deal with that. So, for example, brand lists that change, or the number of brands that change when you're comparing across different countries or markets. Yes, we can handle that. Brand names change, or you want the name to be changed. So, for example, Diet Coke. So, in mainland Europe, it's known as Coca-Cola Light or Coke Light. In the States and the UK, it's called Diet Coke. So we can, but of course, we'd be looking at the same thing. But it's Diet Coke or Coke Light, it's actually the same product. So you might want us to bear that in mind as part of the automation. Those types of things, absolutely. Are your dashboard platforms GDPR compliant? Yes, they are. We have servers both in North America as well as Europe, and can handle, they're fully GDPR compliant. Dashboards are hosted on the Microsoft Azure platform in the cloud, and that's extremely secure, and all that maintenance side of it is dealt with by Microsoft technicians themselves with 99.9% uptime. Another question. Gosh, lots of questions today. Can I set up a dashboard where different people have different levels of access? Yep, absolutely. So you can control the variables within the project based on whoever those people or their roles may be. So you could have like customer experience project where the store manager sees one thing, the regional manager can see all the stores in their region, and then you may have top office can see everything. So yes, you can control access between departments, between different subscribers, and so on within the dashboards. Yeah. Time for a few more questions if you have, otherwise we'll wrap this up. Oh, doesn't look like it. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining today, and stay safe and take care. All the best.